On this panel this morning, we have some great minds. Again, it's the now and later generation, and we're grateful for Reverend Jackson making space, especially in the time of doing too much. Reverend Jackson has made space so that we can share what we are actually doing to make the world a better place. To my immediate left, she is a part of the Voice of the Nation, WVON. You can hear her weekly, rebuilding Black Chicago. She's your favorite millennial. Put your hands together for none other than Cleopatra Draper. She is a graduate from Eastern University. Come on, y'all, make some noise. She got a master's, social work, UIC. She's a wife and a mother of a 3-year-old child. And she is a Delta. All the Deltas in the house, make some noise. And to my end is my brother. He is our National Youth Director, Cameron Barnes. What an amazing young man he is. Central State graduate, business degree. Come on, encourage this young black man on his way to Chicago Theological Seminary to get his master's in divinity. And Cameron Barnes is an Omega man. And so we're grateful for the work that he's doing. Let me start with you, Cleopatra. This week we heard a lot from the administration. One of the things that we did here was that student loan debt has to be paid back starting in February. How did you feel about that?
Well, you know, heartbroken. 43 million student borrowers, and I'm one of them. I spent a lot of my early educational career with Chicago Public Schools ensuring that students don't get in debt like me, because it's real. And to have survived and continue to thrive during a global pandemic, my God, can't you cancel my student loans? Amen. I mean, what does it take? Because what that does, it prohibits one less person to be in poverty. It prohibits one less person to be without a home. It prohibits one less child to go hungry. This is an opportunity to save humanity. That's what this is about. And if we're cutting checks, 1 billion here, 1 trillion here, we can cancel student loans. And the average student debt is $50,000. I mean, that's a house. That is a home. And to be enslaved to a dollar that grows. So you ever heard the story of you want some money, well, go pick it off a tree? I mean, this tree continues to grow in your backyard as you work tirelessly to not only pay that bill, but to pay the bills of what is called life.
And the interesting thing is that, Cleopatra, when we talk about student loan debt, especially for black students, leaving school with over $168,000 in debt, interest rates beyond measure, not talking about the credit card debt and the other survival methods that a lot of black students are trying their best to survive, to make a better way for themselves. And Cameron, this year you did a lot of work with students. Cameron, can you take us down memory lane as we leave 2021 into 2022? And let's talk about some of the work that you did with young people across the nation.
Well, thankfully, I've been blessed, of course, Pastor Hall, as you know, to travel with Reverend Jackson across the country, and a lot of that has been led by this student movement. We've been to Howard University. Many of you have seen what's going on in that housing crisis at Howard, which is not just at Howard. It's across HBCUs, but not just at HBCUs. It's at PWIs as well. I had a young lady from Northern Illinois University tell me that there's mold in her dorm as well. So we stood with those students from Howard. Many of you saw that. The UIC Law School here in Chicago, they've been dealing with some racial disparities as well, and with some racism in higher administration, even in some of their professors. We and Reverend Jackson have stood with the University of Illinois at Chicago law students as well. We went down to Sarah Good High School just as recently as last week, because those students had formed a walkout because of the racial disparities in that school as well, which is a mixed school. It's Latino, it is black, it is white, and there were some racial disparities that black students were experiencing that none of the other students were experiencing. So they formed a very organized walkout, and we were there to support those students. And then the University of Chicago Charter School, who's here today, and I'm very glad for these students who also
give it up for the students, y'all.
Also formed a walkout in their class as well, in their school, because of the disparities. Now theirs weren't so much as racial, but it's more so as the resources that they don't have. They don't have the access to other folks, and then that other folks have, and then on top of that, their principal, Dr. Adams, who has turned that school around very much so in a very positive way.
That's right.
Is being forced out, and they want to know why, because they care enough about their school. So, I mean, we've done a whole lot, and you all know the Jelani Day case. I can't say too much about that, obviously, or I can't say so much about that, because you all know exactly what we're doing with the Jelani Day case. The FBI is getting involved, Mrs. Day, Attorney Crump. I mean, we've been working with students all year long.
Let's talk about this, right? When we talk about, especially when we've heard echo for over 55 years, respect me, never neglect me. And so we see the neglect of students in the classroom. We see the neglect of students just trying to make a better life for themselves in classrooms, in community. Cleopatra, rebuilding Black Chicago, rebuilding Black communities across the nation. What's some of the cornerstones to rebuild Black community in our nations and in our communities?
I have 3 words: build Black better. My co-host Bruce Montgomery and I talk about building Black better because Black folks made America great.
That's
Black folks built America.
Say that again, Cleopatra.
Black folks made America great and continue to bring roses, continue to bring innovation, creativity. I mean, where would they be without us? And the fact that our shoulders are so broad and we stand so tall and remain so humble is not enough. So when you build Black better, you make this economy great, and that starts by counseling student loan debt.
That's real. On that same question, Cameron, how do we rebuild, how do we establish for the next and the now generation, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, what do you see as cornerstones to build Black communities and better Black lives?
Well, I certainly think the supporting of Black businesses is always going to, the Black dollar, first of all, is one of the most powerful dollars, obviously, across the world. And if we would learn to control our Black dollar, then we could control the future. But more than that, as we're in this civil rights aspect of it as well, this Jelani Day case is like the Emmett Till of now, and that's what Reverend Jackson has likened this to. And when Reverend Jackson got involved, he was 25 when he got appointed to this spot here. Our generation has to take our movement by the horns, and we've got to lead this in the way that we want to go. This is why I'm so excited for the Sarah Good students, the University of Chicago Charter School, who are forming walkouts, and not just a moment, but a movement. We're moving forward, and we have to be politically, socially, and civically informed.
That's right, you all. So listen, in these last 30 seconds, and one more time, we want you to stay tuned because Reverend Moss is going to be our keynote speaker today. In the last 30 seconds, these power 30 seconds, Cleopatra, what would you say to your daughter so that she can live well next 20, 30 years? And Cameron, what do you say to young people on college campuses in the next 30 seconds? Go.
Not only to invest in your future, but to secure the scholarship opportunity so that you're not asking them to counsel anything for you. You're demanding what is rightfully owed to you. Right. And what is owed to you is everything when it comes to this country as Black folks thriving in America.
That's real. Cameron?
Students on college campuses, high school campuses, and everything, I would tell you, you need to be socially, civically, and politically informed. We have to take this moment, again, by the horns and tell it where to go. So I would say that we need to stay informed. You need to be on Twitter and everything, but follow CNN as well. Follow the presidential administration. I didn't support a lot of politicians, but I follow their accounts because I want to see what they're saying, because that affects me as well as it affects our parents and everything. Be informed.
Y'all put your hands together for these young adults that are doing great things. Oh, y'all can do better than that. Throw some hearts on the screen, encourage them and show them some love.